It's the man himself. It's the wizard. It's the lad. Look at him. I've said this before, but isn't it weird how the further away Asmongold got from playing MMORPGs, the more light is in his eyes. The more joy he seems to experience on a daily basis. His hairline stopped receding. He cleaned up his house a few times. He's looking healthier. He's looking better. Something about MMORPGs is a curse on the human soul. I wonder if I stop playing MMOs, is my hair going to grow back? Am I going to just immediately lose like 10 kilograms? Too bad I'm never letting that happen.
Hi guys, it's me again, and today I want to talk about my favorite topic, internet censorship. And you know what's really upsetting? The fact that every single other government in the world seems to have that in common with me.
There we go.
Every other government right now is making laws, rules, and regulations for what can and can't be on the internet. And there's a little phrase that my mom used to always tell me, and it used to be, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. But
yeah, but we need to update that phrase. It's not the road to hell is paved with good intentions. The road to hell is paved with lies that look like good intentions. They know what they're doing. They definitely know what they're doing. There's no good intentions that these people have. It's just a bunch of bullshit they're using as an excuse. You want to get away with some really evil shit? Pretend you're doing it for the betterment of everyone else.
But here's the thing, these people don't have good intentions.
Okay. Oh man, God. Oh, he knew. He knew. Amazing.
They say it's for the kids. Sure. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I think, yeah, sure. You don't want to have kids on social media. You don't want to have kids looking at certain weird stuff. Very true. But let's be honest. The real reason why they're doing it is the same reason why YouTube removed dislikes. It's very simply because companies that are running advertising campaigns, pushing narratives and social agendas that aren't popular, and also governments that are doing the exact same thing, were upset and getting their feelings hurt because the people had the power of consensus. The people
Yes, and they don't like that. You're not allowed to decide for yourself.
had the power of assembly, and they would assemble on that little red line on the bottom of a video, and it would show everybody else that this is bullshit. How many times have you guys read an article and you thought to yourself, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever read in my entire life? And you scroll down to the comment section and the top comment says the exact thing that you think, and you're like,
Yes.
okay, I'm not crazy. Well, guess what? How do you solve that problem if you're the company? Do you write better articles?
Disgusting peasants. How dare you fucking think you get an opinion here? Delete. Did anyone ever, anyone have it on their bingo card for 2025? That the internet was going to turn into pirate software? That every government was actually just Jason Thor Hall? Who had that down on their bingo card? I didn't. I figured we had at least a year or two left. Asmongold is kind of starting to look like Roy from... Hold on. No. Jesus Christ. Don't fucking say shit like that. Shame. Shame. I think he's looking better. Come on, his nose isn't that skew. Maybe the hairline, but come on. He's not that bad. Jesus. You people are brutal.
Absolutely not. No, of course not. You delete the comments section. And that's what they're trying to do with the entire internet.
Yes.
We used to have, back in the ancient days, in the ancient texts, every website used to begin with www, World Wide Web. And I think we're losing those first two W's, and I think that's a big fucking L. The fact is that we are going to be moving towards a world and a society where different internets are siloed off based off of region. This is already happening. Look at what happened with, for example, Twitch and South Korea. Now South Korean websites are pretty much unique, and they do their own thing by themselves.
Guess what? It's not just South Korea. Japan's kind of like that. And if you look at most African countries, the first thing that they do in order to prevent people from being able to organize against any evil shit their government does is they shut off the internet. Then there's also China. China's been like that forever. China's ahead of the curve.
This, in my opinion, is just a precursor of what's going to happen all across.
What happened? Asmongold is sounding reasonable. Asmongold's very reasonable about a lot of things. The problem is a bunch of people say a bunch of retarded shit about him online and clip him. And then people think he's a fucking insane person. But I'm sorry, you don't get to this size. You don't get to like 3.8 million subs, the most searched name on YouTube, by being a fucking crazy person. A large, vast majority of people agree with any of the opinions that they hear come out of this man. It's just how it is. But of course he sounds reasonable. That's why most people agree with him.
At least the Western world. Now, whenever I have conversations about this, I'm having conversations about this from the context of an American, okay? We have more freedom of speech than many other people in the world.
Yes.
And so when I say something like, the reality is, I think, and this is the truth, okay? You might not like this, you might not want to hear it, but if you're realistic and you take your fucking idealism cap off just for a second, you're going to realize this is true. We're going to have real ID on the internet.
Yes.
It's going to happen. You might not like it. I don't necessarily like it, but it's going to happen. And it's not going to be in 20 years. It probably won't even be in 10 years. It'll probably be sooner than that. And I wouldn't be surprised if things keep going the way that I think they are.
What's the bet? What's the bet? But that it happens by the end of this year. By the end of 2025, we've got DIDs. We've all got digital IDs that we have to put in. And the only internet that's not going to be like that is South Africa, because our internet is too fucking retarded to figure out how to use anything. Do any of you disagree? Do any of you think that we won't have digital IDs by the end of this year, at most in 2026? Our country would break the machine. What are you? Well, I mean, are you in the US? Or are you in an African country? Don't dox yourself if you don't want to. I mean, 2025, no. I think there will be a lot more pushback. I'm in Chile. It feels like it's already rolling in the UK, banking on the fact that no one will publicly go to bat for gooners, so they can push it basically unopposed. How do you think that would work with Starlink? Everyone switches over to Starlink except my country, because Elon Musk refuses to hand over 30% of his entire company to black people. Everyone uses Starlink. Elon Musk is not in charge of Starlink. Someone else takes the reins, and all they have to do is put their pressure on that one person, and then they start behaving like every other ISP on planet Earth. I'm South African. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. To be fair, yeah. Our country, South Africa, I want to make this clear to everyone. This is how fucking broken South Africa is, right? I had to renew my driver's license this year. Well, no, last year, actually. I have been walking around with a temporary driver's license for over 6 months. I actually just got my actual driver's license, because there is one machine that prints out driver's licenses for the entirety of like the fucking country. And that machine broke down. And no one could get their fucking driver's license. for like over 6 months. And I was first in line. I'm 9 months away. And the best part is the recent news I heard is the fucking machine broke again. There is one printing machine for everyone in my country. For millions of people. And so the funny part is, you got to get your driver's license renewed. It's supposed to be renewed in like 3 to 4 weeks. So you can't get it. So you have to get a temporary license. If you don't get the temporary license and you get pulled over by a cop, you get fined. You talk to the cop, you're like, yo, I've already applied. The fuck is this? The cop's like, fuck you. Where's your temporary license? So you hand him the temporary license. He's like, this expired. And you know what your only option is? Oh, I'm so sorry. Hey, so, you like KFC? I could be right back with some KFC for you if you want. Bribe? What the bribe? No, I'm just offering a friendly, doing his duty police officer some free KFC. What do you think, bud? That's the only option you got. What do you like to drink, bud? Jack Daniels? That's yours? Hmm? You're looking a little bit thirsty. This looks like thirsty work. That's all you've got. That's all you can do.
It happens even sooner than that. We're having this happen with social media. You had Spotify, and you had YouTube too. And YouTube and Spotify are asking for your IDs now to make sure that you're not underage. And they have an AI checking system. So if you say it's lit or on God, you instantly get sent to YouTube Kids, which honestly, I kind of think that's doing everybody a favor, right? But the reality is that YouTube and Spotify shouldn't be the ones that are doing this. They should not be the ones handling your driver's licenses. They shouldn't be the ones handling your personal information. How'd that go with the T app, by the way?
Yeah.
So in case anybody doesn't know, the T app was an app made for...
And for anyone who thinks that any of these government agencies or companies are going to be better at handling your stuff, that means you've forgotten that the US tax services doxed like 60% of the fucking country like 7 years ago or something. They just leaked everyone's information. All of your tax information that you filed, you did the right thing. I think it was Equifax. So every single one of these sites is going to fuck it up and take no responsibility for it.
At ugly middle-aged women to post pictures and henpeck men who didn't call them back after the first date because of the obvious reasons. And guess what happened? Well, in the most pristine and pure version of karma possible, all of these women who had their information, were putting out their information to, basically like posting the public information of these men against or without their consent, had all of their public information and private information leaked complete.
Which, by the way, was the funniest shit ever. We played the T-app game. God, was that hilarious. Now, it was devastating to see how hideous all those women were. The company that does the checks for the UK is a US company, so all the UK dids will be available via the Patriot Act. Beautiful. Very impressive.
Completely to the public. And now you saw the pictures of all the people, and man... oh my God.
Holy shit, I'm on the same brainwave as this guy. You see, what is it about balding middle-aged white guys? We're all just the same person wearing a different face. Those bitches were hideous. I have never seen fucking creatures like that before. You know, people don't want to have this conversation because they feel like it's racist. But some of those people on those apps, they're the same race as me, but I feel like they're a subspecies of human being. They're not the same. They're not the same creature as you or me. They're something else. That's not a human being that we were looking at. That was something that should be in a fucking zoo exhibit. Jesus Christ, some of them were so bad.
Like, stereotypes exist sometimes for a reason. And so anyway, this happened, and I'm not going to say it's a hack, because there was no security, there was nothing.
Yes.
The guy that was running this this app...
For reference, the person who was running the app just uploaded it to a public Firebase, and the guy who, quote, hacked it just scraped the information because it was publicly available. It's not a hack.
Apparently, I heard that after he gets done running this app, Sony's going to hire him for their privacy division. So
nice.
That's pretty much where we're at now. And I don't want to have YouTube get hacked. I don't want to have Spotify get hacked. The reality is that we need...
If you want to type something suspect, Vox, you have a better chance of getting it through on Kick than on Twitch or YouTube, so switch over to that and then just switch back. But unfortunately, if you type something that YouTube doesn't like, and I have zero control over this, they'll just delete the message. Same thing with Twitch. Also, I took away Suno because I'm trying to fix it, Cyro, not because it's gone forever. I'm trying to fix that so it's not like a manual thing, so that it just uploads to Suno with your prompt, and it'll just start playing.
Some degree of authentication token, verification, or some sort of third-party thing that verifies that maybe you are an adult or you are an actual person, you are above this age, but it does not provide that information to the end user or the end company that's actually trying to verify this. We need a validation token system. And if we don't have this, and I know people might say, no, we're not going to have any of this, it's bad. Yeah. You're going to get it, okay? It's going to happen.
Yep.
You can get mad at me all you want, but just wait and see. So I think we need a validation system. We need a way that has actual accountability to make sure that people just don't get their shit leaked when one of these accounts or one of these websites gets leaked. Anything can get hacked, but I would much rather put my trust in some part of like third party like security system or something.
No. You see, he's not seeing the issue with that. If you put your trust in a third-party security system, the third-party security system immediately turns around and sells your data. Suddenly, they're not a security system, they're a data collection company. And they're selling everything about you to some big company that can use it against you. We've seen this before. Have any of you done a 23andMe? Have any of you done one of those ancestry things? The way those companies made money wasn't by you buying their fucking kits. It was they would get your genetic data and then sell it off to a big company that then has access to all your genetic data. Every single thing that has to do with your private information through Facebook or fucking Meta or whatever the hell they call themselves now, or any company that requires your personal information, that data is getting sold, whether you like it or not.
Something like that, rather than a T app or something like that.
VPNs too, yes.
Just basically outsourcing its security to squirrels. And so anyway, that's where that's not true. Squirrels are really good at hiding nuts. This person didn't even do that. But anyway, I was just thinking about this. The fact is that, yes, this is where things are going, and the internet is doing this. Why is this happening? It's not happening to protect the kids. It's happening to protect the people and the companies that are in power to make sure that narratives go unchallenged.
Yes.
And if you don't, the thing is, like, I don't even have to make a 1984 analogy, because we can just make a 2020 analogy. Look at what happened with COVID. Do you even for a second think that's not what's happening? Of course it is. It's happening right in front of us because it just got done happening.
Yep.
And do you really think that all the people are like, the censorship game's up. Well, I guess it's time to go home and let's have everybody have freedom of speech now. No, they're planning their next method and their next move. And guess what?
Oh, Jesus Christ, I feel like I'm listening to a better looking version of myself here, because this is exactly what I said during the Bellula video. This is the fucking verbatim. And I can see anyone under the age of 21 is going to be like, shut the fuck up, boomer. Let me play my Fortnite. I don't care. Let them see my asshole. kids are gonna, the big issue is that one generation later, all the kids grow up with this being normal. And no one's gonna fight against it because to them it's gonna be normal.
What? They just showed us our side of the board, or sorry, their side of the board. This is what's happening right now. And I'm very concerned about this because I don't want to see the internet siloed away. I think that one of the best and most enriching things about the internet is the fact that everybody in the whole world can go on and talk with each other, basically. It's something that expands people's horizons. I think it both creates and also gets rid of xenophobia. And I think that the truth is that it gets rid of it a lot faster than it makes it. I think that if you can just talk to somebody from another country, from another place, you just have a straight up conversation with them. It's a lot easier than hearing what the media is trying to make you think this country is like. And I feel like there's been a lot of cultural understanding that the internet has created that weirdos and people that have agenda.
How many of you have gotten rid of preconceived notions because you could hop on the internet and you saw a bunch of funny fucking memes from a completely different culture? I know that's happened to me a lot. I have learned more things about different cultures around the world than I ever would have had the opportunity to, because the internet was uncensored and wasn't limited. I like, honestly, I've said this before again. When I was 11, right? I had a really, really dumbass thought. The dumbass thought I had was when I learned that a bunch of black people in America kept on getting arrested by cops and stuff. And the only thought I had as a dumbass 11-year-old was, well, why don't they just listen to the police? Maybe if they just complied, bad shit wouldn't happen to them. Why are black people like this? And all it took for me to realize that that's not that simple was seeing a video that used to be online of this one black kid who was like sitting in a park eating a sandwich. And this fat, out of breath white cop was like screaming, get down, is that a weapon in your hand? And it was very obviously like a ham sandwich, right? And this poor black kid was like lying on his stomach, crying, begging for this cop to not fucking shoot him. And the cop still shot him. And then to add a layer of nuance to that is all the body cam footage we're now seeing posted online. That's doing some pretty bad damage to the other side of that narrative. And then it turns out it's a way more complex issue. And I would have never gotten a single ounce of fucking nuance if I wasn't allowed to go online and figure that out for myself.
Is never like to acknowledge. I've been more enriched in my ability to understand the rest of the world because of the internet than anything else ever. And I would hate to see that not be an option for other people.
Dog Rock, that's exactly my point though. That's why I talked about the body cam footage. Have you seen the recent body cam footage that's come out? How many individuals, how many doctors, lawyers, and engineers keep on coming at cops with a fucking knife for no reason? At the same time as me saying something like, that black kid shouldn't have been shot, he did nothing wrong, I can also say you're a fucking retard if you run at a cop with a knife. Right? There's more nuance to the issue than black people are a monolith and every single one of them is a problem. There's more nuance to it. But I never would have been able to see the complexities of that.
people in the future, but it sure seems like things are going that way. I think the real problem here, by the way, isn't with companies doing this, okay? The companies are just pulling the trigger. You should look at the person who's loading the gun and who made the gun. And that person, that's the government. And so the fact is, in telling them to pull the trigger, the fact is that these companies are not doing this because they want to do it. They're doing it because they're afraid of not doing it.
Yes.
So what we need to be more vigilant of and there needs to be more advocacy of is, number one, privacy laws. I think that if a judge issues a subpoena and a person is doing something and there's reasonable cause and there's evidence and everything, I think, of course, their information should be turned over to the government. Like, duh. I mean, of course, that's the way anything is. That's the way it is now. But the truth is that I don't want to have the government that just has, they can just read what you're doing on the internet all of the time. And unfortunately, it seems like that's where we're at. And I understand if you've got nothing to, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. Yeah, definitely. Well, what happens whenever they change what to hide? That's the issue. And I think that's where everybody else is at too. I don't want to have my internet be controlled by the 20 most annoying Karens that are either in collective.
The thing is, he's saying he doesn't want this to happen, but I don't think he realizes it's already happening. It's going to happen. It has happened. And I don't think there's actually going to be a way for us to fight back. Every single iteration of people learning to fight back against this has informed these disgusting hog, fat Karen bitches and all these manipulative people in the government exactly what not to do the next time they try it. And so even if this stops now, give it 5 years, it'll be back. They're pushing for this. It's going to happen one way or another.
Shout that are in the T app or that are in Congress. Or I don't want to have them controlled by the 20 most powerful companies that are basically pulling the strings for a lot of these types of regulations. I am very concerned about this, and I think that you should be too. I think there's an honest and genuine conversation to be had about which content is appropriate for children and which is not, and how social media should regulate itself and how social media should be regulated. But we are going...
I agree. I do actually think that social media should be regulated, but this kind of heavy-handed shit is not the way to do it. But the problem is that it doesn't matter what you or I think. It doesn't matter what Asmon thinks. It's a good enough excuse that they can get away with this.
A lot farther than that, and we're talking about the entire internet and websites wholesale. This is censorship. This is going to go too far. This is not for kids. This is for adults to prevent them from doing and saying things and organizing in ways that put the powers that are making these rules at risk. That's what's happening. And I understand I might sound like a crazy person, but after every...
What counts as grounds for losing privacy later? That's a good question. I wish I had an answer, but that's a good question. If I say what needs to be done, I'd be in big trouble. We all would. Imagine a human government official having to sit there and look at all the disgusting stuff you look at. I think that would be good punishment. I think that, if you work for the government... and you really want to work in online safety, that's a decent punishment. Why not?
Everything that happened during COVID, I can't see a single one of you guys disagreeing. And so
also, Vox, that's exactly what's going to happen. That's literally exactly what's going to happen.
Anyway, while Real ID, I think, is inevitable, what isn't inevitable is the fact that these companies have to be the ones running it. They should not be the ones running it. I do not trust these companies. I don't trust the government either, but I don't trust the companies at all, and I just don't trust the government. And the fact is that, the government got rid of, at least in America, slavery in 1865. Private companies still have it right now.
Did they get rid of slavery? Did they? Or did they just make slavery more efficient? Every time I hear the whole slavery thing that they got rid of it, it reminds me of the time I was in the US and I was speaking to that really rich black guy I met who he's already completed life and he's just coasting doing side quests and he was being a DJ. And he when I talked to him about the whole thing, he said to me, what's more likely, that a bunch of people who were in control of the US decided slavery bad, we should never do that. Or they decided, you know what, slavery is really inefficient because why are we only doing this to this one race? Why don't we instead convince people they deserve slavery and then try make everyone a slave? Also, thanks for the sub, Corey. And every time I hear the slavery argument, I can't help but think of that guy. Because I keep on trying to think, like, what is the argument against that? And every single time I keep coming down to, well, why is everyone in debt? Why is everyone stuck working shit that they don't want to do? Why is it impossible to go build a cabin in the woods? I can't find a good enough argument around what he said. If what Vox said happened, you would see some hilarious shit. The Chinese have no remorse or allegiance to Western politicians that absolutely troll the fuck out of people. Of course they would. And it would be funny as fuck, because there's nothing you can do about it. Slavery means you have to pay up the cost for maintaining people and take care of them. In Brazilian, the property owners just realize that it's better to get foreign people to owe them work. Yeah, there you go. Just get people, convince people that they owe you something and get them to be slaves themselves. Everyone's in debt because nobody teaches their kid how money works. Yeah, and that's on purpose. We still use the Prussian education system. If you want a neat little trick about how fucked up education is and how it turns you into a good little corporate worker and doesn't actually teach you anything, go look at what a classroom looked like 100 years ago and go take a look at what a classroom looks like now. Why are they basically the same thing? There's been no development or advancement in that system because it's non-beneficial for the wider society of how things work to develop on those kinds of things, to make people dangerous. Because you educate someone, they start becoming a threat. A threat is not what you want if you're part of the government. You want people to comply to whatever the fuck you want. And of course I'm going to teach my kid about how money works. Everyone should, because the education system's not going to do that.
So I think that pretty much gives you a barometer on which one is better than the other, which one has a little bit more accountability. But again, we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. So that's what I think we need to be looking at. We need to be looking at proactive, real ID implementations that do not actually put people's data at risk by the company being able to have that data on hand.
Okay, but how do you do that? How? How would you do that? Because I don't see a way to do that. I'm not smart enough to have a solution to do exactly what he's talking about. And I don't see any way that wouldn't go wrong at some point in time in the future.
And you saw that with the T app. And again, I know there's going to be people that are against me on this because you're going to say, well, I don't want to have this at all. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I cannot see a universe where it doesn't happen. If you drive around with a car, you've got to have a license plate. You've got to present ID with 1,000 other things in the world. Do you really think that we're going to live in a world where the internet stays like it was in 2007 forever?
He's right.
Of
It's
course
not.
And I'm worried about that because there are some great things about that. There were some not so great things, but I'll be honest, the people that are trying to control to get rid of the not so great things, they're also doing that as a massive Trojan horse to censor and control discourse on the internet and to have a effective lever that they can pull in the future if they need to shut down a certain type of conversation. You're already seeing this in the UK, which right now is one of the worst Western offenders. And I think that entire ideology is going to be exported to the rest of the West and the rest of the world, as it already has been in some places like China. And so I don't want to see that happen. And I wanted to make this video.
The problem is it's going to happen. Hold on. According to the sovereign citizens, I can say I am traveling and I am above federal law because I'm a soul-bearing individual. Yeah, see, see how that works out when a cop's got a gun to your head. See how that one works out when you get pulled over. And film it. I really want to see it on TikTok or YouTube.
Video and spread awareness and let you guys know what's going on. I'm busy today. I've got a lot of stuff to do. I wanted to make a quick video and talk about this. Be vigilant, be proactive, and don't let these companies try to take all of your information. Again, information and some degree of verification is, I think, inevitable, but it certainly shouldn't be coming from these private companies because it's
inevitable, but how? Okay, if you think it's inevitable, how do these people make it a system that's decent? I don't see how that happens. It will never be decent. And every single person can fight against this, and it's going to do nothing. These governments are going to do it anyway.
Are the easiest ones to hack, and if you don't believe me, look at Sony. So anyway, guys, thank you all very much for watching. I really want to hear what everybody thinks in the comments. I think this is going to be an ongoing conversation for the next, unfortunately, 5 to 10 years. And it is a losing battle, but I would rather lose in a...
I don't think it's a losing battle. I don't mean to be blackpilled about this, but I think it's a lost battle. I think we've already lost. It's too late. It's already too late.
Way to where we don't lose complete anonymity. And, you know, at least unless the government orders it or a fucking judge orders it, right? And so anyway, that's where I'm at. That's what I think. And that's where we're at. So anyway, guys, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you later. Peace.
Unfortunately, he seems far more hopeful than me. And maybe this is a consequence of me having done data collection. Well, data analysis for companies that have done data collection in the past. It's not, no. He's very hopeful. I wish I could be this bright and starry-eyed about this and think that we have a chance of fighting back. But unfortunately, I'm a doomer loser. That's how it is. That's just how it is. Now, what was this you fucking sent me? Payment processors just blinked. Collective shout about the mega triggered itch.io to reindex adult content. Itch has posted an update saying they will be relisting the content that was taken down and that conversations with their payment processors are ongoing. It's working. Keep the pressure up. No payments. But okay, but what does that mean? What's the way around it? What's the solution around this? Again, I'll say it again. I don't think I'm smart enough to come up with a solution that's long-term and that's going to work. If you're applying for... But I hope there is one. I genuinely hope there is one. For those who aren't aware, Stripe is one of the payment processors we've used since our early days. They've provided the pay with card option on our checkout page. We spoke with Stripe yesterday about their content policies. They confirmed they will not be able to support the adult content that fits around this definition. Stripe asked us to pass along the following message. Stripe is currently unable to support sexually explicit content due to restrictions placed on them by their banking partners, despite the card networks generally supporting adult content. Stripe has indicated that they hope to be able to support content in the future. We are in the process of talking with other payment partners to accept payments that Stripe is unable to process. Yeah, there needs to be the existence of another payment processor. All these mini ones are probably going to get shot down. I still don't see a good enough long-term solution around any of this. I don't see that happening. Grumps is an attention hoe who keeps jumping the gun and claiming victories that aren't real. Yeah, no, I press X to doubt on that.